Mike Camilleri here. Obviously, I suppose there were a few options where he could have gone in. Just can you talk about deciding to put him in on that line? And with looks like Jujar was coming out.
Mike will go in on that line and he'll play on the left side today. And Jujar will not play today, but has nothing to do with his play. As I mentioned the other day, if he was healthy, he would play. He would play a lot of minutes. He's earned that right, but he has an upper body injury that occurred in that last game. He actually went down twice, and it's not major, but it's going to keep him out of the game tonight, and we'll see how he is on the road trip.
Can you just maybe discuss the mix on that line with Strome in the middle, Pakarinen on the other side, and maybe the type of game you'd like to see that line play together?
That line, if we leave Camilleri out of it, the line was starting to gel a little bit. They played with a little bit of energy and a little bit of drive. More of their offensive zone stuff came off the cycle and the forecheck. It wasn't as pretty as maybe they'd like to play, but it was effective. And I thought J.J. Kyra had a big part in that. It helped Strome handle the puck a little bit more, gave him some space. And Pack has been a pretty good worker on that line. He's been a good penalty killer. Camilleri can add his shot to it. He can feel his way onto our team a little bit without being in the top six to begin with, and we'll see where we go from there.
Camilleri scored his first goal in this city 15 years ago today. Where were you?
Where was I 15 years ago? Jesus, it's like a high school test. Hey, you're really 15 years ago. I was probably in Houston. Was I? There you go. Stoff knows all the trivia questions.
Like, my point is that he's a 35-year-old goal scorer in the league. Done a lot, scored a lot. How do you try to get the most out of whatever's left in this player? What do you got to do to squeeze some offense?
Well, we got to get him the puck, because that's where he is. You know, when I just think of the name Mike Camilleri, I think of seeing him when I was in Detroit playing in L.A., and that goes quite a few years back. I see him in Calgary, and I see him lowering that knee and taking that one-timer and scoring. And you know, that's the vision that I have. I think he's a competitive guy for his size as well. And you don't, as you get older as a player, you know, your skill set perhaps diminishes. Maybe you're not as fast, but that competitiveness in you stays there. You know, even as you're leaving the league and retiring, and by no way am I suggesting that he's anywhere near that, but for the guys that leave, they're still competitive guys. So he's got a shot, he's competitive, and we need to get him the puck in the right spots and let him shoot it, and encourage him to shoot it. And if we can get that out of him, and he can finish a little bit more for the bottom six, then we'll be in a better spot than we were before, and you know, that's what we're looking for.
When you're coming off an 8-2 win, is there a challenge in trying to get the guys back to focused on the tight checking game? Got you the success leading up to that win?
I would like to think not. You know, the 8-2 win was earned. It wasn't a freebie. Our opponent will and should bring out the best in us at both ends of the rink. It's obviously a big challenge for us. And, you know, some of the review that we've gone through has been we've been able to score those 8 goals, or we were able to score those 8 goals because of how we played defensively, how we created turnovers, how we checked in our end, and it opened up opportunities the other way. So I don't see there being any reason for us to neglect our commitment to the defensive side of the puck at this point.
You touched on St. Louis a little bit there, but if you can just maybe expand on how big a challenge this will be for your team. One of the best teams in the league comes rolling through, and how for a team that maybe feels like its game is turning the right way, this is that kind of test?
It is that kind of test, and they are, you know, they're a prime team in the league right now. They've got to be a top 5 team on a nightly basis. One of the big challenges is that Shen line, the amount of offense that they produce alone, throw in the production from the back end, and they are a dangerous offensive team. Get a lot of it done 5-on-5, so that's a good test for our group. See if we're moving in the right direction, and try and create some traction before we go out on the road.
Tarasenko and Schwartz obviously are lighting it up a lot. Pietrangelo's had a very good start. How do you defend against a defenseman who's so active like he has been this year in the rush with St. Louis?
Well, it's not just him. All of them are jumping into the play, which means they're coming out of their end fairly clean. Forechecks haven't been able to pin them in, and they feel fresh at that moment of their shift, and they're able to jump in and join the rush. Not just full length, but also in the offensive zone. They do create a lot of motion, and they move around. They've got some big bodies to create space. So we have to have an awareness, a 200-foot awareness of where those players are and how we're going to slow them down.